Why is it that sometimes someone says just one sentence, their tone shifts slightly, or their expression changes for a split second, and something in you reacts instantly? You feel it before you can explain it, before you can even make sense of what happened. Your emotions are already there. Why is it that even when you know it's probably not a big deal, you still can't stop thinking about it? You replay the moment again and again. What did they really mean? Did that pause mean something? Was there something behind that look? And while everyone else has already moved on, you're still there, stuck in that moment, unable to let it go. And why is it that when you go quiet, when you start to feel something, even when you simply withdraw a little, the response you get is, you're overthinking. You're too sensitive. It's not that serious. Over time, you start to question yourself. Is something wrong with me? Should I be less affected, less aware, more like everyone else? If any of this feels familiar, then this isn't about how to be less sensitive, and it's not about controlling your emotions. What we're really looking at is something deeper. Why you take in so much, why details affect you so strongly, and why what you've always called being too sensitive may not be a flaw at all, but a way of perceiving the world that you've misunderstood for a long time. You've probably had moments like this. You're at work. Someone speaks a little more sharply than usual. A sentence comes out slightly rushed. A glance feels colder than it should. No one else reacts. The conversation continues. Everything seems normal, but something shifts inside you. It's subtle, almost like a small, quiet sting. You go silent, and your mind starts replaying what just happened. What did that sentence really mean? Were they annoyed? Did I do something wrong? You know it might be nothing, just a small moment, maybe even meaningless. But your emotions are already involved. Sometimes you hold it in, you keep functioning, you stay composed. But the moment you're alone, your chest tightens, your throat feels heavy, and your eyes start to burn. The tears come before you fully understand why. So why does this happen? In psychology, this is often linked to heightened sensory processing. Most people's brains filter out a large amount of subtle information. They ignore small shifts in tone, micro-expressions, and emotional undercurrents. To them, it's just noise. But your system is more open. You don't just hear the words. You pick up the tone, the rhythm, the hesitation, the emotional weight behind them. So in the same moment, others receive a sentence, you receive an entire emotional experience, and that changes everything. Because the more you take in, the more there is to process, and the more there is to process, the more likely your body will respond. Tears are not a sign of weakness. They are a sign that your system is handling more than most people realize. You're not overreacting. You're responding to more information than others even notice. But what makes you cry is often not just your own emotions. It's that other people's feelings don't stay outside of you. They enter you. You've probably experienced something like this. You're sitting across from a friend. They say, "I'm fine," but something feels off. Maybe their voice is a little quieter. Maybe their smile doesn't quite reach their eyes. Maybe they pause just a second longer than usual. No one else seems to notice. The conversation keeps going. But inside you, something shifts. You feel it immediately. You become more careful, more aware, more attentive to the atmosphere. And slowly, you realize something. What you're feeling is no longer just theirs. It's now inside you. Your chest feels heavier. Your breathing changes. A quiet pressure begins to build. Sometimes, before you even fully understand what's happening, your eyes start to fill, even though nothing actually happened to you. In neuroscience, this is closely related to the mirror neuron system. It's what allows us to feel empathy. When you see someone express emotion, your brain simulates that state. For most people, this simulation is limited. They can understand what someone feels without becoming overwhelmed by it. But for you, the boundary is thinner. You don't just recognize emotion, you absorb it. You don't just understand pain, you experience it. That's why other people's tension can become your tension. Their sadness can settle into your body. and their unspoken feelings can turn into your tears. Not because you're fragile, but because your system is deeply connected to what others are going through. Over time, this can become exhausting. You may find yourself pulling away from people, needing more space, more quiet. Not because you don't care, but because you've been carrying more than your share. You're not too emotional. You're someone whose brain is constantly tuning into others, often more deeply than they are themselves. When these patterns come together, something else begins to happen. You don't just feel more, you also think more, and you don't know how to stop. You might recognize this. You're home at night. The day is over. The conversation is ended. The person is no longer there, but your mind is still running. You go back to that moment, that sentence, that expression, that subtle shift in tone, and you start asking questions. Did they mean something else? Did I misunderstand? Did I say something wrong? You replay it again and again, trying to make sense of it, trying to find a version of the story that feels safe. But the more you think, the harder it becomes to stop. What started as a small discomfort begins to grow. You add more detail. You build more possibilities. You fill in the gaps with imagined meanings. And slowly, something changes. That light emotional response becomes heavier, clearer, more real. Sometimes you weren't even close to crying in the moment it happened, but hours later, after replaying it over and over, the emotion finally breaks through, and the tears come. In psychology, this is linked to deeper cognitive processing. Your brain doesn't stay on the surface of experience. It automatically connects the present moment to past memories, hidden patterns, and possible futures. This ability helps you understand people on a deeper level, but without boundaries, it becomes a loop. You're no longer processing reality, you're amplifying it. So the issue is not that you're too emotional, it's that your mind goes further, stays longer, and digs deeper than most people's. And sometimes, that depth is exactly what turns a moment into something you can feel long after it's over. By now, you may be starting to see something. What you thought were problems have always followed a pattern. You're easily affected, not because you're weak. You cry more easily, not because you lack control. You feel overwhelmed, not because you're incapable of handling life, but because you take in more, you feel more deeply, and you process things more thoroughly. And for a long time, you were taught to do the opposite. Be calm. Be rational. Don't take things personally. So you tried to adjust. You tried to ignore what you feel, to quiet your reactions, to become less affected. And slowly, you started to question yourself. Maybe I'm too much. Maybe I need to change. But here's the truth. This isn't a system you can simply switch off. It's not a flaw you can remove. It's how you're built. So change doesn't mean becoming less sensitive. It means beginning to understand how your system works. The next time you feel triggered, when something small starts to build inside you, when your chest tightens, when your eyes begin to burn, pause. Not to suppress it, not to explain it away, just notice it. Notice what you picked up, what you felt, and how far your mind has already gone. Because the moment you begin to observe it, instead of rejecting it, something shifts. You are not just someone who cries too easily. You are someone who perceives the world at a higher resolution. And in a world that is becoming more numb, more distracted, and less connected, your ability to feel is not a burden. It is a form of awareness, a form of depth, a form of being fully human. This is Felix. May you understand yourself a little deeper and treat the growing version of you with patience and kindness. See you next time.